Hello again, I am Jim Bob and welcome back to Lone Oak Farm. We are on day 6, the final day of summer, and we're kind of in a bit of a holding pattern. We've got that grass work that needs to be finished off on field 24, and we will get to that later. But before we do anything else, I want to spend a bit of time working over on our cows just over here. So I've already just scooped up the mess on the grass trough that they left, and immediately they've already started to spill more grass out onto the floor. That's kind of to be expected a bit. Now I'm topping up their TMR trough. Trying to get a nice, good, full food trough. And then once we've done that, we'll do the water, we'll do the grass. And after we've done that, we'll see if they need any straw. We're also going to head over to the sheep. At some point later today, we're going to give them a top up as well on food, on water, and give them a bit of a tidy up as well. We're going to check the prices at the auction house because we are considering getting more sheep, and we might be able to get them today. We might need to wait another couple of days so they're at a cheaper price. We'll see what the price is like today, and if it's not too bad, I might just go ahead and buy them today, seeing as we have this kind of quiet period, this little lull where we only have half a job left to kind of finish off as far as mowing work that needs to be done. We will go back, as I say, and finish off field 24, and we'll also make sure that the bunker is in a really good position going forward. We still have another cut of grass on each of our fields to go in there, and on top of that we also have that little bit of corn left over. If you remember, we left a strip for our chaffing experiment. I still have that total written down on a little sticky note on top of my computer, so we will compare. Once that corn is fully grown, we'll compare how much we get from fully grown chaffed corn against final growth stage chaffed corn. See if there is a significant difference or not. I don't think there will be, but others seem to think there will. So this will give us a clear answer one way or another. Looks like we've got a little bit of TMR just doesn't want to come out in that little side wall there. That's perhaps a bit of an issue. We might have to get a conveyor belt or something in there to scoop that out, if that's the case. We are out, I think, now. Apart from that little tiny patch there, I think we are out of all of our premix. So we'll have to mix some more up. Oh, are we full? I think we might be full, actually. Yes, we are full. And the straw is still full as well. It's the time of year, summer, when cows spend more time outside than they do in. So as a result, straw consumption is quite low during the summer months because the temperatures are higher. So they spend more time outside, less time inside the barns, and therefore manure production is slower at this time of year. It'll skyrocket upwards once we get towards winter. Do I need this open anymore? No. What we do need now is to get into the back of our cowshed so that we can start scooping out that manure. We'll go in this way, and I need to move that quickly. There we go. No escape behind me because we're not going to go in and out this way going forward. Get that gate open. Let the cows go through. Spin around. Close the gate. And now let's start getting that big pile of manure out. Just to start with, we're just going to get it out of the building. You try and avoid the cows, but they have their own unique animations. They just go wherever they feel like, whenever they feel like it. So we can only do so much avoiding. And we do have a sort of storage area for manure on this map just around the corner. So we're going to dump it in there, and then later today we'll probably transfer that over to the orchard, into our manure storage over there. Really is quite tight around here, as you can see. This is about as big a tractor as we can really get in here without there being some sort of issue. Can I squeeze through there? There's a big pile actually at the end. That's just going to cause issues. We'll go around the side. You can see I parked my water tanker just there, my big water tanker, because I'm not really sure where to store that at the moment. Still kind of thinking where I need to put that, so until I can come up with a better solution, it'll just kind of live there, kind of close to where, you know, where we take it down to go and collect water. But we'll continue mucking out our cows, and as I say, after this, we'll swing on over to the meadow so we can deal with the sheep, and then from there we'll continue mowing that meadow on field 24 and get that transferred over to the BGA. Now, I was very lucky in the sense that Gavco were very kind and decided, you know, allowed me to store my truck and my forage harvester at Gavco in the empty bunker last night, so I didn't have to bring all of my equipment home, but rather than just leaving it out on a random field, you know, we did leave it, you know, nice and secure at the BGA, so that was very kind of Gavco. And of course we had to drive the Magnum back to the farm because we needed to get back to the farm, so I wasn't going to walk it, it's a long way, so I drove the Magnum home, and we can drive that back out later. Ease our way through this very tight opening here. Oops. There we go. I'm toying with the idea, actually, of taking the back wall off that TMR little storage area and putting doors on the back side of it as well, so that we can tip food in from the back side and then take it from the front side straight into... I don't know. I'm kind of just throwing ideas around in my head at the moment, so we may possibly remove that back panel there and replace it with the big double doors like we have on the opposite side. It's a possible thing that we could do. I don't know. Not as much manure as I thought, actually. When I looked at the size of that pile, it was a very big pile, but, you know, this is what it is with tip mechanics. You know, you get these big piles that look like there's a lot of stuff, and there really isn't that much in the grand scheme of things. And that seems to be the way with the manure. We've had 2 buckets, and most of this pile is gone, so I think this will be the 3rd and final bucket. Cow. They don't have to make it difficult for themselves, don't they? Right, there we go. So that's the last of it. Just going to have to back through these things because they're just standing there doing nothing at all. I don't know why. And as soon as we move out of the way, now they start moving again. As soon as we move, I think we were possibly blocking them. Maybe. I don't know. It's done now. That's the important thing. So we're out. Close the gate behind us. We'll be going back in there with the water in a moment, and also probably with our grass cuttings. And there we go. So that's all of the manure emptied out. It's not a lot, 3 buckets worth. That's what, just under 4 grand a bucket, so between 11 and 12,000 litres. You know, 11,500 to 12,000, that kind of volume. Not a huge amount, but enough. Right, let's drop the front loader back off because we're not going to need this again. Not for a while anyway. So, because the angle of the bucket is quite steep, oops, we'll drop the bucket off first. Now we can drop the forks off. There we go. And we'll put the weight next to them on the opposite side as well. Excellent stuff. Right, there we go. Let's go get our water trailer and start topping up the water levels. And then once we've done that, it'll be grass, and then the cows are taken care of. I still have plenty of water inside this trailer here. Nearly 19,000 litres. Actually, I think going in that way might be... well, we might squeeze in. It's going to be tight. We might go out the other way. That might be easier. Let's see. Because this is a big trailer. And I'm starting to wonder if this is maybe the wrong one. Maybe we could swap this for the one at the orchard. That might be Might be a better way to go. Open that gate there so I can actually maneuver. Yeah, this is too big. I don't think it's even going to get through that entranceway because it's wider than our tractor. Let's turn around. Let's use this area out here to turn around in, so I'll have to drive down a bit. Swing around. Really are struggling with the weight. This is the only other reason why I haven't used this one at the orchard already, because when it's fully loaded, it weighs a lot. It really is quite heavy. I mean, the other option is that we sell it and just replace it with a smaller trailer. Another one of our Joskin Aquatrans, or Liquid Trans, actually, the modded one, which is what we're using at the orchard. That might be a better option. Yeah, certainly in terms of the sheer weight of it. We're carrying 19,000 litres of water on a big heavy trailer. It does make this thing very, very heavy. Awkward to accelerate with and difficult to pull up hills. So maybe bigger is not always better. There we go, so we'll get the gates back open again. Try and back our way in as carefully as we can. Go, and then we need to swing hard on this corner. Get alongside the water trough. Excellent stuff. Fantastic. So we'll get that topped up. Now it's just grass. Now we've got about a third of the trough, and that's 5,000 litres, maybe a little bit less than a third. So that suggests we're going to need probably around 16,000 litres of grass. That's a lot. That's an awful lot. It's going to take me multiple trips to do that. So let's get in there, just close the back gate. Just there. We'll leave this one open. There we go. I'm just going to park this over here. Now I do have some grass available around the yard, but whether I've got 16,000 litres worth or not, I don't... Well, no, I'd need 10,000 because I've got 5 already. So that's still 3 full loads from this. I don't know if I've got that much grass. Yeah, I've mowed the lawn a couple of times to try and get that grass in there. And the verges and stuff. I just don't know if I can find 10,000 litres of grass around here. I will endeavour to mow where I can. There is that little strip of grassland down towards the pond that we've got access to, I think. So we could possibly use that. I'll do what I can around the farm first. I don't really want to touch this. I want that to grow at a uniform rate. So we'll have to try and take it from everywhere but... And see how much we can get. So I'll carry on mowing and unloading this into the food trough, and I'll catch up to you once I've done that. Okay, so one load has been dumped in the trough already, and I'm working on load number 2. I'm going to need, I think, 3 in total, and I'm just trying to work on the area inside the paddock. Yeah, I realised as I drove in here, yeah, I'm scrabbling around for every loose little bit of grass I can find outside, and I've got a whole field's worth of grass inside here that I could be using. So we're mowing all of this. You know, it'll start growing back tomorrow because tomorrow is the start of spring, start of autumn, and the start of a new transition. So it's not like our cows are going to have nothing to munch on. You know, scenically, there's always been one of the things that I felt a little bit strange about the farming sim mechanics is that the need to give them 20% of their food mix as grass, when all they do is just wander around the paddock and eat grass. It just seems a little bit odd that we then have to manually add that in. I've had conversations with some of my friends on a number of occasions wondering why the food requirement for grass is so high when they literally live in paddocks full of grass. You know, why can they not just eat that? And maybe we just have to provide them a small percentage, you know, just for the mechanics side of it, you know, so that we are feeding them grass as well. It just seems silly, it just seems strange, you know. So I don't know why that is. Maybe that will change in 19. You know, we can expect there'll be some changes to some of the mechanics. We already know we're going to get new crop symbols. We know we're going to get new equipment. We know we're going to get new features, you know, such as lime. You know, maybe some of the existing stuff is going to be changed and tweaked a little bit. Certainly visually, I think some of the existing stuff will be improved upon a little bit. As for, you know, existing mechanics, whether they're going to be tweaked or not, well, we know some mechanics are going to be tweaked because they're overhauling the mission system. Missions are staying in there, but they're being completely overhauled. So some things will change. And I wonder whether or not the grass requirements for cows will change. You know, if we stick them down and they've got a great big cow pasture like this, full of grass, why do we need to fill their troughs with so much grass? That's 20% of their food mix. It does seem a little over the top for me. I don't know. Right, how much more do we need? I think one more load should do it, actually. So let's start mowing again. Maybe that could be an unofficial title for this video. Mowing and mooing. Who knows? Let me know what you think of that in the comments. Mowing and mooing, or mooing and mowing. It sounds a little silly. So I'm done with the mowing. Just about got a full trough. I didn't quite fill the back of the mower, but I was just under 3,000 litres and thought, well, let's dump this and see how we do. And as it turns out, almost completely full. Our cows are already down to 88% messiness, you know, or cleanliness. They are so messy. I had to clean them out an hour or two ago, and they're messy already. You know, 12% mess. That's ridiculous how fast they go. I can see the first day of winter in our forecast as well now, and that's rain. Now, I have heard that you don't get any snow at all with this geo. I don't know if that's the case, and I don't know what my plans are for winter. I might do another kind of mini, you know, compaction of winter. So we do kind of the first 3 days, and the second 3 days as 2 separate episodes, and just kind of whiz through winter again. It depends, actually, I suppose, on what the temperatures are going to be like, as to, you know, whether we can actually get some work done in preparation for spring, and then maybe just take half of spring off. Let's say take half of winter off. Just do a couple of days in winter and then just skip the rest of them. I don't know. We'll see how things go. But our cows are now effectively taken care of, so we need to make our way back over to the sheep so that we can carry on working over there, and also so we can deal with the sheep themselves. So I'm going to switch back into our Magnum. There's our brand new Optum parked up, so we now have 3 very nice shiny red tractors on our farm, lined up there in size, so from smallest to middle to large. We'll get this back on the road. Let's raise the blade up a bit. There we go. We'll get this back over to the sheep farm first of all, as I say, so we can deal with their mess, give them a bit of feed and a bit of water. Then we'll move over to the BGA and we'll get our equipment back up and running. We'll finish mowing, and then I guess we'll see where we go from there. We may well, looking at how little my money's gone up this morning, I think we may well need to go and restock the orchard as well, because I think that has now run dry. So I will see you over at the sheep farm. The more I stare at my calendar, the more I do realise just how narrow, potentially, a harvest window I could actually end up with. We've got rain for 5 of the 7 days that we can see. That is slightly worrying. And all 6 days of autumn are up there. Our harvesting should be able to start tomorrow in terms of crop availability. I'm pretty sure that we will get, you know, some growth overnight on our corn, our barley. Well, maybe not our corn, but definitely our barley, our canola and our wheat. Those 3 should all be ready to harvest tomorrow, and we will try and get as much of that done as we possibly can. But how much can we actually get done before that rain comes? What time is that rain going to come as well? These are the questions that are going to define how our harvest season goes. Because if that rain falls in the middle of the day, you know, we're moving out of the hot weather into the kind of the not so hot weather, into the very rainy, damp, cooler temperatures of autumn, then it's going to take a long time for those crops to dry out again. I can see us having to start harvesting at like 3 in the morning, potentially, just to make sure that we can get at least, you know, a couple of fields done a day, because that's what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to get at least 2 fields done a day, every day. We've got, what, 4 fields of soybean. I don't think we're going to have I think we're going to have to get a second combine. I just can't see logistically a way that we can get everything done with just a single combine. So, despite all the money that we made with the soybean, and despite the fantastic money that our orchard is bringing in, we're going to have to spend another chunk of cash, I think. I think we're going to have to buy a second case 7130. I can't see any other way around it. I don't think we're going to get a thing harvested in time without it. That's a lot of cash. We can afford it now, but that's not the point. You know, it's a big expense for something that's only going to be used, you know, 1 season out of 4 every year. It is a big expense indeed. Right, let's get this bale dropped off. Go. Let's see what our food troughs are looking like. Oh, they're all full. That's perfect. Excellent stuff. So, we're done here. You can see, you can just about see there's a strip of grass running still down that field, and then yellow grass everywhere else. We will come back later with the the Puma and the Optum, and we will be rolling out some of that field to get it fertilized with our 2 roller sets. But before we get that far, we have to kind of, you know, get the field finished off. So let's make our way over to the BGA now. We can hop into our forage harvester and our truck, get them set back up over here, and we'll finish off that field, and then we can really compact the bunker up nice and good. Today, I think, is the one day so far of this entire series where we've had practically nothing to do. You know, we've had so many jobs that have needed to be done. You know, there's been very few days, apart from winter, where we've just had nothing to do. And I think this is probably going to be, in terms of the sheer volume of work that needs to be done, I think today is going to be one of the quietest days of the entire Let's Play. It is certainly shaping out that way at the moment. So we're kind of we're finding busy work, I think. I just wish that we had some crop that we could harvest today. Would have made, you know, things a whole lot easier, taken a lot of pressure off for, you know, for the rest of the year. But it is what it is, so no use complaining about it. We can only get on with it and do what needs to be done. So there's our equipment stored away, nice and safe. So thank you, Gavco, for looking after my equipment overnight for me. Let's just turn the beacons off. There we go. And let's go continue our grass work. This is the penultimate load today. There's only enough left on the field now for, like, I think one more tip. You can see I've already worked on the left-hand side of the bunker, trying to get that as level as I can, and I've pushed some of it all the way to the very back. This thing's really starting to fill up now. I'm curious as to just how much we've got in here, but I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait until we get to the very end. You know, the next trailer. It's going to probably be a partial trailer. I doubt I'm going to have. A full trailer to tip, because there isn't that much grass left on that field now. So it'll probably be, I don't know, 20, maybe 30,000 litres. But once we've got that in and tipped, then we'll open this up with the help menu and we'll see just how much we've actually got in this bunker, because, you know, I mean, it's still a long way from being full, but there's a lot of stuff in here, as you can see. We are making some very good progress on getting this thing full, and I think just looking at this, we're sitting on a small fortune here. You know, 500,000 litres hardly took up anything in a bunker once it was all kind of squashed up. And that was worth a couple of $100,000. I think we could be looking at 5 times that here if we can get it all through in one single tip. A lot of money, looking like a lot of money there indeed. Well, it turns out there was a little bit more grass left on the field than I thought, but even so, it's still the final trailer. So yeah, we're looking at a little under 60,000 litres. That's not bad. And that's the end of our grass work for the summer completed now. We don't have any more grass that needs to be mowed or silaged anymore. Not till it grows back. So later this afternoon we will come back and we'll get our Puma and Optum to roll this out. Get it up to stage 2. But I'm wondering if we're actually going to get time for another, well, at least one more cut, maybe even 2 cuts. Again, it depends on the weather. Now, the great thing about, you know, collecting grass is that it doesn't need to be dry. You know, if I want to make hay, then yes, it does. But if I just want to make chaff, you know, we'll stick it in a bunker as grass to turn it into chaff that way. It doesn't need to be dry, so I can mow in the wet. It would start rotting pretty quickly. But, you know, if the rain has stopped and it's still waiting, you know, that waiting period, waiting for, you know, crops to dry out to go on the harvest, I can mow some of that grass and I can collect it and take it to the BGA and dump it there. So we can get probably one more cut in on each of the fields. I mean, we may well have it grown a 4th cut, but I don't think I'm going to have time. I think I'm going to be way too busy with harvesting. And I think I am going to get in touch with Sam and request he order a second harvester for me. We might even need to, well, we're definitely going to, I think, going to need to order a second truck as well. So we're going to have to roll in some big equipment. You know, all that money we earned just a couple of days ago, it's going to disappear really, really quickly. Unfortunately, there's just no way around that fact. We need a second truck to help out with our deliveries, and we need a second combine just to make sure that we can get the combining done. I could lease one, but the leasing costs are going to be so tremendously big that we may as well just buy one, because we'd end up pretty much paying for one through lease costs and then have to give it back. So yeah, we're better off just buying one. The lease cost on the combine is going to be at least 20 grand on the initial thing, plus probably another 10 grand per hour, with a couple of grand overnight fee as well. So by the time we're done with all of our fields being harvested, we may as well just have bought one, and then, yeah, because we'll have paid most of the cost of buying one by that point, I think. There we go. That is the last trailer to go in here for a little while, at least until the corn is ready to be finished off. That little strip of corn that we have on our field just over there. Beyond that, there's not going to be a huge amount more going in this bunker. Maybe another field's worth of grass, maybe 2 if we're lucky, but we'll see how that goes. Alright, so let's pull the truck out the way. There we go, we'll park just there. Let's jump in the Magnum and start compacting all of this and getting it pushed to the back. just about done with my compacting here. It doesn't need to be perfect because, as I say, we are going to be adding more in, but what I have done is try to keep it reasonably level and slope it towards the back so we can build up this raised section at the back here. So it's a little rough at the moment, but I think that's good enough. It's good enough for what we need. So let's see just how much we do actually have in here. 1.571 million litres. That's 3 times what we had. So we're looking at over 600,000, I would say, in silage right here once that's finished fermenting. That's not bad at all. That's really not bad at all. So let's get the Magnum back to the farm. We'll bring the rest of the equipment back home as well. And then we'll start rolling out our field. And see if there's any kind of prep work that we can get done once that's, once we finish that. So here we are back at the farm with the Magnum. Here's our truck. And our forage harvester are already back here ready and waiting. Let's see. We need the Optum and we need the Puma. And we need the rollers that go with them. Let's see which is going to be the quickest way out. I'm also thinking we might need a bigger forage wagon. Sorry, a bigger auger wagon, a bigger chaser bin, if we're going to be upgrading to a second combine, which I now think is kind of pretty much necessary. I'm also realizing that I'm going to need to make straw bales, and I don't think I'm going to be able to get that much straw off the field. I'm just not going to have time for a lot of straw. Again, too many fields that need to be harvested. This is tricky. Trying to plan out in my head exactly how long it's going to take me to get my harvesting stuff done, and having no idea what the weather's going to be like is really kind of tough. There we go. So that's the first one. This is the one we're going to be using, the Optum and the manual roller. And we're going to get a worker to run up and down the field for us in the Puma with the worker-friendly roller. And what I'll do is, once I've kind of got the worker in place, and he's able to run up and down quite comfortably without any input from us, I will then head over to Manning's and have a nice long chat with Sam, and we will arrange for some new equipment to be delivered to our farm. I don't think we're going to get the combine by tomorrow. Well, we may do if we're lucky. If we're lucky. I need to kind of get a rush on that, which means we may have to pay a little bit extra. The truck, not so much of a rush. We can hold off on the truck for a little while. But yeah, we definitely need to get a new combine, or a second combine, and we're going to need, a second truck for winter, and just to help us out with other bits and bobs as well, I think. So we'll call in and speak to Sam, we'll get those ordered, and hopefully we can get the combine in for tomorrow. Okay, so the rolling begins. We've got our 2 tractors up here. I need to put a headland in at this end, just so the worker can actually not crash into the fence. I'll need to do the same at the other end of the field as well. Then I can get him up and running. Then I can go to Manning's and have my my order chat with Sam. And then once that's done, I can come back and I can do all that fiddly stuff over there, just over the crest of the hill, around the corner, where it all goes into that kind of side weird bit, which is a bit clumsy and a bit clunky and a bit awkward. And I can do all that bit while our worker is running up and down doing all this bit here for me. That's kind of the plan anyway. So I think one more headland over here should be good. 2 we could probably have got away with. 3 is just an extra security level. an extra safety net for us, if you will. There's no way there'll be a problem with 3. So, now that that's done, I'm going to start the worker partway into the field, just because that is a sloped corner, so he's going to hit a point where he's going to turn around and come back way too soon. And I don't want that to happen, so if we start the worker about here, again, we can fill in all that gap ourselves. So he's going to carry on doing that. I'm going to nip around the back of him, have a little bit of a race down the field. I think he's going to probably beat me. We're pretty much neck and neck, actually. But we both have more than enough power. Although I'm going to be moving on a curve. He's going to be going in a straight line, so he should theoretically edge ahead of me just a little bit. Plus, I need to stop him when he gets to the end anyway, so I can again put the headland in and avoid any issues with the turnaround. But yeah, getting the rollers out and doing our grass work, running in tandem like this. Oh, looks like we left a little bit of grass on the field there. And we are drifting into the turn, as you can see. So you can see now he has just edged ahead of me because he's going straight and I'm not. So I'm putting some sideways motion into mine. Let's see. Is he going to get hung up in the fence? Oh, he's just going to stop. Oh, in that case, we'll just nip in front of him. Oh, he's trying to turn around and come back the other way. Okay. Let's stop that. So we want him to go that way. There we go. So he'll do that. We'll run along the bottom here. And we'll fill this gap in. And I'm starting to wonder if 3 passes will be enough at the other end. I think it should be. 3 should be enough, I think. But we're going to do all this kind of fiddly bit here manually. So you can see that's kind of like the separation line along the edge of that field as it runs across the hill that way. And then all this other stuff here, that'll be what we do while he works on the straight and narrow stuff. We'll be dealing with all the awkward bits. There we go. And this is the last job that we have that needs to be done before the harvest. There isn't anything else that we can get done. You know, I looked at the price of sheep. They're still a little bit too expensive. And given the fact that we're about to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on a new truck, a new trailer, a new combine, and a new pair of combine headers, you know, we kind of need to watch them pennies again. I do need to get the orchard back up and running again. I'll do that at the end of the day, I think. Let that kind of tick over. Oh yeah, we can see here 3 is going to be enough. There's enough width gap. Yeah, 3 is going to be fine. 3 passes. So we'll just run along here. Can we see him yet? Yep, here he comes again. Back on the field. It's so hard to actually stay in a straight line like this. You end up overlapping and then underlapping, and it's tricky. You end up just following a kind of a weird line that doesn't make a lot of sense in some respects. Right, so we've got the headland in at this end of the field. That's more than we need, because he's not going to be coming all the way across here. And what we need to do now is fill the gap in that we left by the hedge, just here. There's a little spot just there actually that we missed. we go. Let's grab that. And we'll run in tandem back up the field again. Then I'm going to have to come back down on the next pass. We'll do that when we come back from Manning's. Oh, actually, no, it looks as though we're going to have 2 more passes, in which case, yeah, we'll finish this section off. So we'll go down, or up, I suppose, then back down again, then back up again, and then that should be, hopefully, this section done. And we can go and speak to Sam. How's he getting on? He's getting on absolutely fine, look. He's just going to keep running up and down the field, keeping it nice and straight for us. And that's, I think, the hardest part of running manual rollers is, as I say, it's staying in a straight line. So having a worker do all the straight line stuff for us really does take a lot of the hard work out of rolling. Then it's just a time game, you know, it's just however long it takes you to get it done is however long it takes you to get it done. Oh look, we do need an extra headland. I did wonder. We can tidy that up at the end, it's not important. It doesn't have to be done right now. What I want to do is get this section done. Just looking at the time, it's 3 o'clock. I think we may have to pay a premium to get the combine shipped to us overnight. But I just don't see any other way around it. You know, given how many fields we've got. How many fields have we got to do? We've got to do 30, 35, 32/33, that's one field. 34, 43, 45, 48, 51, 49, 50, 53 and 54. We've got 12 fields that are going to need harvesting. Now some of those are going to be ready straight away tomorrow, which is going to be our wheat, our barley, our canola. I think the corn and the soybean might take an extra couple of days, possibly. I don't know. I haven't actually driven past those fields in a little while, so I don't know if they are showing that final growth stage, you know, showing the yellow crop, even if they're not actually, you know, ready to harvest. You know, they look like they're ready to harvest. If they're in that state, as these fields are here, then they will probably go live at the same time as our other fields, in which case all of them are going to be ready to harvest at the same time. That might be a blessing. It might be a problem. Again, I suppose it depends just how much rain we're going to get and how quickly everything dries out when it does rain. We are going to be running some very, very unusual hours over autumn just to make sure that we get our harvesting done. So there'll be some night harvesting going on and some very early morning harvesting going on, I think. We will be racing against the weather every time we fire up the combines, trying to get as much done as we possibly can before the bad weather hits, and then getting as much done as we can after the weather is cleared up and everything's dried out. So let's make our way over to Manning's. Let's go speak to Sam. Let's get that combine ordered. We'll get the new auger wagon ordered. Got to figure out what size I want to go with. We could go with an Avalanche, but that's a bit big. In reality, I don't think we're going to need something that big. Maybe a Horsch Titan at 34,000 litres might be something a bit more appropriate. Something that can empty both combines in a single run. 20,000 litres just isn't going to cut it. Alright, see you in a bit. Okay, we have just spent $389,000 on a new combine, a couple of new headers and a couple of trailers for those headers. Had to pull 385 grand out of the bank, which means financially we are once again looking at a big debt, 1.25 million again now. I have held off ordering the truck simply because we have just spent an absolute fortune, and right now my bank manager, I think, would probably have a heart attack if I then spent another 250 grand or so and maxed the loan out completely, getting a truck and trailer as well. So because we have no immediate rush for those, and they are more geared towards winter when it comes to selling our crops. I think what we'll do is probably purchase those partway through autumn. Get the last hurrahs of our orchard this year to process through and pay for that. So you can see our work has actually been really busy ploughing away for, well, I say ploughing away, plodding along for us, and just getting this field done really quickly. He's been an absolute trooper. So we need to kind of pick our pace up a bit and start work on the other stuff. The awkward fiddly bit, as it were. So let's drop the rollers down. And pick up where we left off. One thing I have noticed, and you can probably see it every now and again, there's a stutter in the camera, is that, since I've got so close to using up my slot count, it has become a little bit jerky in places, this game. We are really pushing our file as far as it can possibly go. We've got, I think we've only got about 80 slots left, if that. It's really, really tight. I decided as well against getting a new auger wagon. I looked at it and thought, well, I don't know if I've got the slots for it. I didn't want to get rid of what I've got and then pay out another 28 slots for a modded auger wagon. And also, I was getting it mixed up. I thought it only had a 20,000 litre capacity. It actually has 28. And that is enough to fill, to empty both combines with a couple of thousand litres of overflow on each combine as well. So we can go from, effectively we can store 14,000 litres per combine, which gives us a little bit of flexibility. So I think 28,000 litres we can make do with that. It saves us having to buy another chaser. The one we have, it's not quite ideal, and I would ideally like something with a little bit more storage space, but I just, as you can see, we are getting that little juddering. The camera is playing up a little bit because we are so maxed on slots. How many do I actually have left? 80. I have exactly 80 slots left, so we really have maxed out kind of the vast majority of what we got. And the truck and the trailer are going to add an extra 2, maybe 3 slots, depending on how many the mods actually use. They are both modded bits that we have. The truck is obviously a mod from Black Sheep, and the trailer, I forget who made the trailer, but that's a mod as well. So we're going to be looking at using another 2 or 3 slots on that, and I've got to figure out where I'm going to store everything as well, because we are starting to really run out of space. Finding the combine a home is easy. We can stick that in the main shed with our tractors and all of our other big equipment. That's not a problem at all. The headers, I can possibly double up the headers in the bays that they're in if there's enough space, but we are kind of running out of space there. And as far as another truck and another trailer goes, well, we kind of need those long bays around the back of our silos where our truck, trailer and fertilizer seeder currently live. So we are really limited on some of our options right now. We may have to construct some kind of storage building for all of our equipment, because we are, as I say, really pushing our storage limits to capacity in terms of where we can stick all of these vehicles. I'm going to have a real think overnight as to where all my equipment's going to live. In case I've said they will try and get the combine to me as early as they can tomorrow, it's not going to be a very, very, very early morning delivery. We're probably looking somewhere between 9 and 10 is the estimated time of delivery. We will probably be up earlier than that, with the expectation that we'll be able to start harvesting. Of course, if we can't, we'll just go back to bed and get an extra hour or 2 sleep. But we're probably going to be up around about 3-4 in the morning so that we can make a really early start, assuming that the crops are ready and the weather holds up. That is the kind of important thing. And now here I am just burning up the last little bit of cash I have on hand. The orchard has stopped producing because it's run out of water and manure. So, you know, I'm getting a little bits of cash dropping in from my solar panels, but it's not much. It's really not much. It's a couple of $100 an hour. So yeah, we are really up against it financially right now. Again, how often have we said that this series? We keep starting to dig ourselves clear and then immediately end up putting ourselves back into a bit of a, bit of a hole. But we can cope. We know that we can cope. The orchard, while it won't produce over winter, will certainly give us some good money through part of autumn. It's probably going to shut down after day 4 of autumn. We're going to be so busy with running the combines and tending to our animals as well. We can't forget the animals, that I just don't think we're going to have time to tend the orchard as well. So we'll have to shut it down a little bit early. Oh, I'm on a head-on collision. That's not good. Completely forgot he was working this field. Did he do all of this patch here on this corner? He did. Look at that. Fantastic. So we're just about done here, and then from here what I'll do, we'll get the equipment back to the farm. I'll jump in the pickup, I'll head over to the orchard, I'll top the orchard up in terms of manure and water, and then that's going to be it for another day. I'll do that off camera because that's a long time consuming job, and we are pretty much out of time. We kind of waffled a little bit on this one, but I've had to kind of figure out a way to stretch out very little work across a whole episode, and that's essentially how I decided to do it. So yeah, we're done for the day here on this field. All that's left now is to get our equipment back to the farm. I'll let him do that thin little strip. And there we go. That's it. We're done. Finished. So that's it from me. Thanks for watching. I am Jim Bob, and I'll be back hopefully with the start of our harvest very soon.